Hi, thanks for coming. So, you're about to get married, and I would like to talk with you about a very special subject called sex. This is my favorite thing to talk about before guys get married because it's so important. In our conversation today, I'm going to be very honest and very candid with you. I'm going to use very specific words that are scientific just to talk about what's about to happen. And I just want you to know that this is a safe place for you and I to have a conversation. You can ask any questions that you want. As of today, there are no questions about sex that are off limits. So take everything that you've ever known about sex, every encounter, every fantasy, every dream, every experience, every desire you've ever had in the realm of sexual intimacy. Take all of that and throw it out the window. Every type of sexual touch, every type of sexual desire, every type of sexual fantasy you've ever had has all been outside of the grace of God. That means that God can't bless it. You are now about to enter into something that is truly amazing, truly mystical, truly wonderful, and truly divine in origin. You are about to encounter God's pleasure and His goodness and His gifts for you within a holy covenant, within something that He can bless, within something that He can be glorified in a way that you never have before. So everything that you've ever experienced or encountered before is all counterfeit. It's all less than what God originally intended. And with that, that means that the goal of sexual intimacy now is different. In the past, all of those things were about you, weren't they? They were about you getting something. They were about you feeling good. They were about you taking something, even in times. Were you longing for something that wasn't yours? But now, sex is about giving something. It's about not just getting, it's about being one together with this person that God has made for you, with this woman that God has made for you, and only for you. This is what true redemption is. This is a picture of the gospel. This is a picture of God's love for you. So from now on, sex is no longer about you. It's about her, and it's about him. That is okay. Women are under an incredible amount of pressure on their wedding day. People have been harping on them for months. They've been planning this day for years, their whole lives even. And that's all done now. For a woman to carry that level of stress for so long is incredibly exhausting. And so it may be that she's just tired. You get to the room and she's wiped. And this is a place for you to serve your wife. This is a place for you to love her unconditionally more than you love yourself. And I just want you to know that if that happens, if she is too tired, that's okay. It doesn't mean anything. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean you're not married. It doesn't mean that something's wrong. It just means she's had a long day. And I want you to remind you, your honeymoon, you have all that time together. That's one of the great things about honeymoons is you get to go away and you're alone together for the first time ever, really, for an extended period of time. No one's bothering you. No one's telling you what they think you should do or who you should invite or where you should go, all that stuff. It's just you two. It's pretty great. So don't be afraid. In the next couple days, I want you to have a conversation with your soon-to-be wife about that night and what she expects and what you expect. That way you're both on the same page and there's not there's not a place for animosity, there's not a place for anxiety. You can approach it together. And I think that will help ease you into your honeymoon a lot better than if you didn't have that conversation and if you just left it up to chance. When you have that conversation with her, I want to challenge you to initiate and to lead. So what I mean by that is you initiate the conversation saying, hey, I would like to talk with you about our first night together. And then I would like to challenge you to lead her into that. So specifically by saying something along the lines of, I'd like for us to talk about this. I'd like for us to be specific. So that way we're on the same page and that way I can serve you and lead you starting off our marriage on the right foot. So what are your expectations for our first night together? She may or may not have a direct answer. For many women, it's hard to start verbalizing those types of thoughts, and so she might say, well, I don't know. just be nice to be together. And that's great. To which you can say, hey, that's great. Lead her then in a few specifics. Like, hey, so would you like to wait till we go to the hotel? Or would you like to wait until we get to our destination, depending on whatever your travel plans are? You could say, we'll just say hotel. When we get to the hotel, would you like to change first out of your dress, or would you like me to undress you? Would she like to take a shower or a bath, or would she like some time alone to change or just to relax for a little bit? That's fine. You can also ask, what are your expectations for me? Would you like me to be in my tuxedo? Would you like me, or my suit or whatever? Would you like me to, is there anything specific you would like for me to do? Would you like for me to bring candles or music? Is there anything anything along those lines? And if there is, then it's your responsibility to bring them. And if you have an expectation of, I would like for you to wear lingerie, or I would like to be the one who undresses you out of your dress, then have that conversation. I would recommend that, especially for your first night, you just keep it simple. Why? Because there's no pressure. There's no reason to add all these extra things. You're about to have your honeymoon and your whole life is ahead of you. So start slow. And then sometimes guys ask, well, so what do I do? Really, you just start kissing, and for the first time in your life, whatever happens, happens. And that's okay. So just, again, you don't have to talk through every single detail, but have a conversation, get on the same page, and approach this together instead of just kind of leaving it up to chance. Create a safe space for her to open up to you. What I mean by that is, go slow. Don't make this all about you. Sex is not about you anymore, at all. And this is not just for your first time, but this is for the rest of life. Include your wife in your sexual encounter. A lot of guys just think, I'm gonna have sex and I'm gonna get off and that's it. But what about your wife? Are you giving her pleasure? Are you leading her to a place of trust, a place where she can open herself up to you? Or are you just leaving her high and dry? Become a student of your wife. Study her. What are the things that really rev her engine? Learn those things. Now, I'd also just like to say, for your first night especially, she probably will not orgasm, and that's okay. Part of the reason is that this is a very new experience for her. This is her first time with you. This is new really for both of you, but her body, it's going to take a lot longer to warm up. It's going to take a lot longer for her body to physically get used to your body being inside of her, and that's okay. It's okay. It's all okay. Take your time. This intimacy is an adventure, and this is just the beginning. So you don't have to reach the moon on your first go around. Specifically, I want to talk about lubricant. So this is just HEB lubricant. There's all different kinds. I would recommend that you take some lubricant with you. What that's going to do is, if her body is not lubricating itself, you can use a little bit of lubricant, and I do mean just a little bit. A little dab will do ya. It'll say on the package, squeeze a pea-sized amount onto your fingers, or a dime-sized amount, something like that. You don't really need anything more than that. Put a little bit on your penis, on the head, and the base, and around, and then on the outside of her vagina, and then on the inside. If you put too much, you won't be able to feel her, and she won't be able to feel you. So that's okay. Just pull out, wipe off a little bit, and then go again. Again, go slow with the lubricant thing. It's one of those things that you just have to learn over time, like how much is enough and what do we really need, that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean anything that's wrong. It's just an aid to help get you guys to where you're trying to go. It's easy to clean up. You just wipe it off, and it's not a big deal. Your wife may start bleeding. It's very, very common. And what that is your penis is breaking through her hymen. And that is possibly painful, possibly going to cause bleeding. It probably won't be a lot of bleeding, and that's okay. Don't make a big deal out of it. Generally, after a few days, it stops and the pain lessens significantly. That's a place where I would encourage you guys together I would encourage you to choose to continue to have intercourse as opposed to just waiting. Because if you keep waiting, it's not going to decrease. It's just going to be right there every single time that you do it, if that makes sense. So with this specific situation, practice is going to help. Hollywood doesn't really do a good job of talking about the cleanup portion of sex. So after you ejaculate, you will probably stay erect for a little while, and while you're inside of her, think of it as you're plugging up a hole. Well, once you start to not be erect, you're not plugging up that hole anymore, and so there has to be a place for that stuff to go. It's going to come out. You guys will learn when that's happening, and you'll need to respond accordingly. I highly recommend either having like a hand towel ready within arm's grasp, or maybe a shirt or underwear that's just been thrown off. Keep one article of clothing really close by, fold it over, put it under, you're good to go. After intercourse is over, I encourage you to hold one another, to kiss one another, have pillow talk, fall asleep in each other's arms, or if it's the middle of the day, spend time together. Be close. Intercourse is not the only aspect of intimacy. Intimacy is a life lived together with another person in such a way that the two of you are one. Be intimate all the time. Specifically after sex, the temptation may be, if it's late, to just roll over and go to sleep. I just want to challenge that. Be together, even after intercourse is over. Anything that involves a third person or only requires one person is not okay. We've talked about this a little bit in our time during Rock On, but I just want to say again, you going off and masturbating by yourself without your wife's permission is cheating on her. You looking at pornography, or the two of you watching pornography, is not okay. That's adultery, because you're involving another person. Some guys say, well, but what if I'm thinking about my wife? I just want to challenge you and say that's self-justification. You don't need another person, you don't need another object, you don't need to do these things when you're alone, because you have one another. God has given you provision. And I want to challenge you to not shy away from difficult conversations with your wife, specifically about sex. If the two of you have agreed that oral sex is okay, then go for it. That may be something that it kind of takes a little time to work up to, and that's fine. And it may just be something that you guys jump into and you got it figured out pretty quickly. That's great. If the two of you have decided that that's okay, go for it. Same with different positions or changing positions. That's a place where you can lead. There are two things to note about that. Don't get crazy right off the bat. Some things are really easy to achieve, and some things it just takes a little more time to master. The other thing is that if a position degrades someone else, or if your spouse feels belittled by it, then it's not okay. Again, it's just a place for you guys to be having a conversation. If you're using a condom, do you know how to use one? If you haven't, here's a condom. I highly recommend to go with the name brand. In my opinion, they're a name brand for a reason. There's one way that it will work and one way that it won't. Basically, it's like a sombrero. You just put it on and roll it. There are going to be times in your lives as married people where you're going to need a condom. If she is on contraception but gets sick and throws up, then you're not protected under that anymore, and so you would need a condom, or you need to abstain from sex until her next cycle has gone through. So it's just something to be aware of. I want to challenge you on your second day of your honeymoon to take some extended time on your wife. Take some time to just explore her, to find out what she finds pleasurable, to find out what it is that she likes. And there is sometimes an expectation that the husband and the wife will orgasm at the same time. And I just want to say, when that happens, that's amazing. But it's not really a goal. The goal is oneness. The goal is unity. And when those other things happen, that's great. It can really just be viewed as a benchmark of, hey, we are clicking. It should not be an expectation that this is going to happen every time. Again, when it happens, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's really incredible. But that's not what we're going for. Do you understand what I mean? Do you have any questions about that? Your goals of the honeymoon are just to spend as much time together as possible. Get naked. Be comfortable naked. And the third goal is to rest. You are about to enter into a whole new season. Actually, you are entering into a whole new season, and life is only going to get busier. Take this time for you guys to just enjoy one another, to relax, and to be on the same page as you start this new portion of your life together. I want you to know that I'm available to you even on your honeymoon. You can call me or text me if you have a question or a problem. Just want you to know I'm available to you. And when you get back, I'm going to ask you how it went. So I hope you have a great time. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. And if there aren't any more questions, then I'll pray for you.